But yeah, the next card is by far my favorite. It's called the
Hang on
Golden
one second.
Amputation. And you should cut here, because this next card is awesome. Yeah.
That is the end of verse 3. So here we go. Let me do this. All right. So for those of you who are just joining us, myself, joined by the Bife, you know, the amazing. My name is Bife, who you should be following on YouTube and everywhere you possibly can because he is amazing. Are reading through the Books of Sorrow. This is the story of the Hive and the Taken King. So far, we have gone from the beginnings of the Hive, which is a weak krill-like race living in the ocean of a gigantic gas giant that has ascended through a pact that they have made with an evil, a source of evil that they call the Worms, and now they have arisen from their home planet, taken over their home planet, the surrounding moons, and now nearby star systems and galaxies, attaining the power of life and death itself.
And Oryx has
has the ability to take, which is something we see in the game.
He is now officially the Taken King, which is a very big step. And this ability to take is really important. I think it's best demonstrated by what is being talked about here in this next card. Verse 4-0, the Golden Amputation. Wrath. Behold the wrath of all. Screwing it up with the first hurdle. Great. Cool. Wrath. Behold the wrath of Oryx, coiled for 10,000 years. Behold the golden amputation. The fall of Taisha Beth. The end of an age. We beat the worlds of Taisha Beth like skull drums, and we howl in joy for our black war moons as they ram silver orbitals and gleaming star webs, where infant Taisha Bethi sun ravens curl and die unborn. In his throne world, Oryx paces 10 times. On the first pace, Kragor sends the accursed to blight the Taisha Bethi worlds. On the second pace, the Tai unleash their battle plates and arsenal ships to fight our moons. On the third pace, Oryx's war priest meets them in battle, and he is victorious. He paints the void with fire, he salts the earth with ash. On the fourth pace, Mengor and Kraudug, Dyad knights, go to the Raven Bridge, and they stand on it and kill the Tai for 10 years. On the fifth pace, the Tai Emperor Raven comes home to her bridge, and she cuts a moon with her talons. She cuts it open and kills its brood. On the sixth pace, Oryx speaks, saying, "Listen to me, Emperor Raven. I will describe to you the last true shape, which is written on my tablet." And he puts out his fist, full of black fire, and he swallows up the Emperor Raven with a wound. Ayat. Only Oryx knows this power, the power to take. On the seventh pace, the perfect Emperor Raven comes out of Oryx's wound, and she spreads her wings across Taisha Beth. Never again is a Taisha Bethi child born. She is perfect. She enacts the will of Oryx. On the eighth pace, the Tai say, "Listen, you are spoilers, you are sphincters and etc. You rot. Why do you kill? We made silver orbitals and golden star webs. We hatched eggs. We had good things. Our clothes were nice. Our food was famous. With one of her feathers, our emperor could have tickled the gods." On the ninth pace, Oryx says, "This is the only god, the ability to dictate what will and will not exist. This power to go on existing. This is your god. It is never ticklish." On the 10th pace, the Taisha Bethi are extinct. Then Oryx says, "Listen, my siblings. Do you know what we have done? We have conquered our way to the edge of the deep. It whispers to me when I call on it, and it guides my flight. It says we here are at its threshold, and that I should come inside. I will go and speak to it." So this card is exciting for all of shitloads of different reasons.
All of the everything, yeah.
First of all, we see all members of the High War, aka the Court of Oryx, in action. So you see Kragor, you see the War Priest, you see Mengor and Kraudug, and you see tons of other stuff going on with this race known as the Taisha Bethi. As far as we know, they're a bird-like species. which, you know, is best described by the description of them as, you know, ravens.
Mm-hmm.
And the coolest thing of this entire card is twofold. It's the TIE Emperor Raven, which is supposedly so large that she cuts a moon. Think of our moon, she cuts it in half with her talons. That means the Taishabeth Emperor Raven is like the size of a freaking planet, or alternatively has talons capable of somehow cutting open a moon. What?
Yeah, that's impressive.
Stupidly OP. And then Oryx is just like, I'm gonna take that. Quite literally, he just takes her. And when the TIE Emperor Raven emerges perfect from the other side, having been corrupted by darkness, spreading her wings across all of Taishabeth, never again is a Taishabethi child born. That is crazy to me. Not to mention that this thing has been taken already, and why can't we fight this damn thing? It sounds like an epic boss.
I didn't think about that. That's awesome.
Like, literally myself, Focus Fire Chat, the Destiny Ghost Story guys, and practically every other son of a bee in the lore community has just been like, can we please have this as a raid boss?
That would
this
be
would
amazing.
Be the most freaking epic thing in the world. I do also love the line in this, you know, with one of her feathers, our emperor could have tickled the gods.
Mm-hmm.
And then Oryx is like, you know, this ability to go on dictating what will and will not exist as your god, it's never ticklish. You know, it's like, it's literally the most kind of eloquent way of saying, nah, fuck you guys, you're wrong. It's just like, okay, I'm done here with you. And most importantly, at the end of this card, Oryx says that he needs to go and commune with the deep because he's reached the very edge of it, the precipice. And so this is the point directly after that in the next card. Battle made waves. Oryx went down into his throne world. He went out into the abyss, and with each step, he read one of his tablets, so that they became like stones beneath his feet. He went out and he created an altar, and he prepared an unborn ogre. He called on the deep, saying, I can see you in the sky. You are the waves, which are battle, and the battles are the waves. Come into this vessel, if I have prepared for you. And it arrived, the deep itself. So Oryx at this point potentially is directly communing with the darkness itself, which makes this next card even more intriguing because, tell me, the minute that you think of the darkness, you think of, you know, deep voice, terrifying
ominous, evil,
protagonists,
profound,
Cthulhu-esque type presence,
almost cryptic and impossible to understand. This is the first. When I read this, I was like, the shit. Because the tone of the individual that Oryx speaks to, that is the darkness, or a representative so far in the darkness that Oryx had to slay millions or thousands of civilizations to reach, does not match what you think it should be.
And it's well worth noting. I personally do believe it's the darkness, and loads of people will agree when they think that the deep is the darkness. Mm-hmm. Some people think that it's not. So the distinction is important to make. But it's well worth noting this could be the words of the darkness itself.
Mm-hmm.
Oryx, my king, my friend, kick back, relax, shrug off that armor, set down the blade, roll your burdened shoulders, and let down your guard. This is a place of life, a place of peace. Out in the world, we ask a simple, true question. A question like, can I kill you? Can I rip your world apart? Tell me the truth, for I don't ask. Someone will ask it of me. Sorry, if I don't ask, someone will ask it of me, rather. And they call us evil. Evil? Evil means socially maladaptive. We are adaptiveness itself. Oryx, how did we explain it to them? The world is not built on the laws they love, not on friendship, but on mutual interest. Not on peace, but on victory by any means. The universe is run by extinction, by extermination, by gamma-ray bursts burning up 1,000 garden worlds, by howling singularities, eating up infant suns. If life is to live, if anything is to survive through the end of all things, it will not live by the smile, but by the sword. Not in a soft place, but in a hard hell. Not in a rotting bog of artificial paradise, but in the cold, hard, self-verifying truth of that one ultimate arbiter, the only judge, the power that is its own metric and its own source, existence at any cost. Strip away the lies and the truces and the delaying tactics they call civilization, and this is what remains, this beautiful shape. The fate of everything is made like this, in the collision, the test of one praxis against another. This is how the world changes. One way meets the second way, and they discharge their weapons, they exchange their words and markets, they contest, and in doing so, they petition each other for the right to go on being something instead of nothing. This is the universe figuring out what it should do, what it should be in the end. And it is majestic. Majestic. It is the only thing that can be true in and of itself. And it is what I am. So again, the minute you start this card, Oryx, my king, my friend, kick back, relax, shrug off that armor, set down that blade. You know, it's like, you're the god that's not ticklish, and you're treating me like I'm just some old drinking buddy that's come home. It's a very weird juxtaposition from what Oryx said earlier. It's just like, okay. By far one of the strangest cards I think I've ever read in all of the things.
Yeah, it's very strange. I wonder if that attitude will continue, like, later. I don't know. It seems so out of place. It's so interesting.
It's very, very odd. But yeah, the next card is sort of an interesting one, right?
Yeah.
So this is a dream that Oryx is having. And the dream is interesting because it's taking him back to when he was Alrash. For those of you who just joined us or are listening to this part ahead of others, Alrash was Oryx's original form. It's basically youthful Oryx, baby Oryx almost. And you're sitting there looking at a completely different entity, an entity that is still weak and doesn't have that much power and is still very much afraid of the ZZG and the, you know, Godwave and whatnot.
All the things that could kill him.
Indeed. I am walking down the road. I'm going to the orrery to talk to my dad, and I hear this noise, so I look back, and my sisters are behind me. They're ripping up the road. They've got these huge swords, execution swords, and they're levering the stones out of the road. The stones are covered in writing. They're like tablets, and there's dirt underneath, full of worms. I need to get to the orrery before they can catch up to me, so I start running, but right away, someone trips me. It's my dad. He's got his foot out, and he grabs me by the horns and just slams me down on my face. I'm in so much pain, I nearly throw up a worm. Why weren't you ready for this? Dad says. He's wearing glare goggles, those shiny goggles that he'd used to save his vision during lightning storms or sea fire. All three of his eyes reflect me. Didn't you know they'd be jealous because they couldn't come to the orrery and talk to me? Didn't you know they'd move against you? I start wailing like I'm 2 days old again, and I say, Dad, I thought you were my friend. I'm supposed to be safe here. But he just puts out his fist, and I realize he's laughing at me for believing him. Why did I think I'd be safe? In his fist, he's got a black sun, and he holds me by the throat and goes to tip the black sun inside me. I can see my jaws in his goggles, through reflections of my jaw with so many teeth. So I start eating my dad. I bite huge pieces out of him and claw him up, eat his legs and eat his arms and eat his goggles and eat his eyes, and he says, good, good, this is majestic and true, but my sisters are still tearing up the road, so I don't know how to get back. So this is basically Oryx being visited with this realization that he can't trust anyone, and it's another version of the sword logic, which is stating, doesn't matter how much you love someone, you've always got to prove that you're superior.
Yeah.
Now, a very important part to this first card is I'm walking down the road, and how he looks behind him and sees his sisters with these huge execution swords. They're levering stones out of the road. The stones are covered in writing. They're like tablets.
Yeah.
This is often interpreted as Savathun and Shiva-Arath directly trying to steal the Tablets of Ruin, which have given Oryx this incredible amount of power. They're something that he has used within the power of taking. And generally, they are an incredibly powerful aspect of the Hive. Having just been resurrected, they're keen to get back to their old ways now that they sacrificed themselves for Oryx and his cause.
Yeah.
So this card is super freaking interesting from that particular point of view, because this bad dream is actually happening. And I believe
it's like an expression of the horrible things that may be going on in the background, or at least the expression of his fear. Or realization, like a further realization. Like it's almost like, and you can see it the whole time it's happening, is it's like a giant spinning death wheel where once they realize, oh shit, this pact that we've made is impossible to, the contract is impossible to fulfill, things just get more and more fucked up the further down the road.
Precisely. And it gets completely and utterly ridiculous by this point. The next card is More Beautiful to Know, and this is the point at which we're really starting to sort of push towards the ending. Not few cards, there's still maybe, I want to say, good 15 or so to go, but this is the point at which we're getting into the latter part of the Books of Sorrow. So this particular card is yet again from the perspective of Oryx, but he is not exactly communing with anyone but himself. These are his thoughts. Sometimes I wonder if I'm nihilistic. I don't do much except break things. That's what they say about me. We could have had a great civilization if it weren't for that damn Oryx, that damn Hive. They don't believe in anything but death. The only way to make something good is to make something that can't be broken. And the only way to do that is to try and break everything. I'm glad I learned the universe runs on death. It's more beautiful to know. But I'm lost somewhere strange. I think Savathun and Shiva-Arath are trying to steal the tablets from me. They must have cut off my tribute when I was away communing with the deep. I love them so dearly. No one else is clever or strong enough to try and break me. No one else can give me this gift. Once long ago, I killed Shiva-Arath on her war moon, and she blew up the whole moon to kill me with her. She was laughing with joy. I laughed too. A whole moon! A whole moon! It was a waste of a moon, but it taught me how to save myself from exploding worlds, which was necessary to fight the Ecumene. I love mighty Jivu more than the moon more than a moon loves the tide. I kill her for this, over and over, forever and ever. When I get home from my wanderings in the deep, and I take back my throne, I'm going to have children, and that's what I need. Sons and daughters to love and kill. So, initial plans for Oryx and co, which all of a sudden becomes completely and utterly ridiculous because you realize Crota isn't necessarily fostered out of love. He isn't born out of love, rather. He's very much born out of Oryx's own need to increase his own power. Because the loyalty of a family is something that's going to be much harder to break when it's someone's own offspring. So it's worth noting that the two treacherous sisters that Oryx has initially, they're not going to have anywhere near as much of a strong bond with him as, well, all of the individuals that we're about to go ahead and talk about in these future cards. So, the next one is This Love is War. Jivu upon Oryx, uttered by Shiva-Arath, sibling of Oryx. Betrayal. We've marooned Oryx within the deep. This is our obligation. Apologies. This is our obligation as lords of the Hive, to make war upon each other, to eradicate weakness and to make ourselves sharp. Obligations. Once I permitted Oryx to kill me so that he could gain the sword logic and overcome Akka, our god. This left me trapped deep in my throne. But Oryx, my brother, made war upon the Ecumene, and in that war he described me, for I too am war. Thus I was resurrected. resurrection. Savathun and I conspired to strand Oryx on his expedition, but I secretly believe that he will be stronger with Oryx to war against. Thus I describe him. A description of Oryx. When Oryx looks upon you, you feel that you may well vanish if he looks away. The chest of Oryx's skull is as long as an arm. Sorry, the crest of Oryx's skull, not chest. What am I saying? In the course of its life, a thought moves from one end to the other. Upon his crest, I have painted a line in blood so that he will remember me. Each of Oryx's fangs has the precision of a finger and the acuity of an eye. Even though he was born at the bottom of the universe and taught to burrow, Oryx has grown wings. The light of wildfire shines through them. Oryx teaches, but he will not be taught. Oryx's body is corded with strength. His sinews and his muscles are as strong as his children, and his children are the strength of him. Oryx wears a raiment of worm silk made from the call of gods. The voice of Oryx may cause two different numbers to become equal. Oryx, my brother, is the bravest thing I know. Upon fundament, he learned that we were the natural prey of the universe. The most frail and desperate things. He thought about this carefully, and he found a way to fix it. He made us strong. He will lead us into eternity. Oryx, my brother, loves me, and his love is war. So this is Shivarath suddenly realizing, okay, scary stuff. We have just tried to steal from a very powerful individual. Namely Oryx. So, yeah, they did in fact steal the Tablets of Ruin. Or at least try. Spoiler alert, they're about to get messed up quite royally by everything that Oryx is about to do to them. Because you've got to keep in mind, they not only betrayed him, but he had these visions of them betraying them, and then, essentially, he deploys force in order to prevent that betrayal from really taking place. So, all of a sudden, you have the next card, which introduces a rather familiar character. You are Crota, my son. Welcome. I fought my way out of hell to make you. I fought my traitor siblings and fought the swarming corpse of Akka and cut my way back into my court, the High War, which has been usurped once I had made war on Savathun, and crippled her tribute so that she could never challenge me. And once I have tricked Shivarath and poisoned her tribute so she could never again try to take my tablets. And once I had arranged for my own lineages so that I would be the greatest among the hive and secure on my throne, I found a mother to make spawn. One of those spawn was you. Your life will be a battle too. You will have to win your place at the High War. I will give you nothing except for this. Your first sword. And this name I have prepared for you. We fight a war against false hope, Crota. We chase a god called the Traveler, a huckster god who baits young life into building houses for it. These houses are unsafe, for they cannot stand against my hive. And these houses are a trap, for they lead young life away from the blade and the tooth, which are the tools of survival, and is totally lost my place there. Rip, wow. GG, Bife. Totally good at reading.
Oh, you're doing great. Doing great.
And the means of ascension. There we go. Only when the Traveler is extinguished, will the universe be free to arrange itself and assume by ruthless contest its final perfect shape, a shape which depends on nothing but itself. Thus I name you Crota, Eater of Hope. There is an oath upon me, Crota, my son, an oath against the wicked Teox. This I do not give to you. It is for me, your father, to bear. Let's go meet your aunts and uncles. So yeah, birth of Crota, first ever son of Oryx. And, by extension, the first ever real son that Oryx has ever actually had that has been of significance. Because he's had spawn before, which fall under the category of the blood of Oryx. He's never had an ascendant son. So this is a really prominent step in the right direction. You can also see all of a sudden when this point occurs and when sort of cavalry gets unlocked, all of a sudden, for you, you're going to... Wow, again, totally lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry. I've been awake for so long.
No, it's okay, dude. No, you've been killing it, man. you've been doing great. A lot of people, when they first see this, the first question that comes to their mind is, who is Oryx's mom?
Crota's mom, you mean?
Crota's mom, right? Whatever.
Crota's mom,
I'm just bobbing up too.
Yep. Crota's mom, who has indeed got it going on. Here's the interesting thing. We do not know. There's this constant reference that everybody keeps on making to a hive entity known as Nocris, who is pictured just before the final fight in the Regicide mission in a statue. And that statue is significant because it's next to both Crota and Oryx. So some believe that that is potentially the mother of Oryx's spawn. There's other theories relating to the fact that there's a second exiled son of Oryx that we've just not read about yet. It's maybe in some of the later calcified fragments. But again, unconfirmed, and I don't know why they wouldn't be so involved in either the high war of Oryx's court or whether they would have their own army that's pretty prevalent by now. But yeah, that's kind of what's interesting about it all. We don't know who the mother of, well, Crota and any of Oryx's other spawn really is. And we know there has to be one, because Mother and Navigator or King are two very different posts for a very good reason. They're deliberately made as distinctive. They're not the same role.
Yeah. Would you like to take a break?
I would absolutely love to take a short break, if that's all right by you.
Yeah, you want to take a quick, 3-5 minute break and then get back at it?
God, yeah. I'm going to splash some water on my face, go grab some more tea.
Go do that, guys. While we're taking a quick break, I'll run some ads. But Bife, who has been doing this wonderful reading and educating all of us and being amazing, you can go follow him on YouTube. He is almost at 300,000 YouTube subs. He is worth your time to follow for sure. So give him a sub over there, and let's get into 300,000 today. Big milestone. Make it happen. We will be back in about 3 minutes.
Yikes.
Be right back, guys.
Dude, I tell you, if everybody in the stream suddenly subscribed, that would be
getting close, man.
I mean, I need to do the live count thing. 2 seconds.
Yeah, I know. Get the live count up. People in my chat are saying that you are at 300,000.
What?
I don't know. I'm gonna be right back.
Okay, cool. What? You're kidding. Hang on a sec. Oh my god. Holy crap. Oh my god, is this actually gonna happen? Oh my lord, what the fuck? That is... Oh my god. Oh, it's going up. That is crazy. I need to keep recording that. Shade.
Alright.
Dude, what the fuck?
I am right. I'm back. How's everything going, man?
I'm looking at the live sub counter now, and holy fuck, dude.
Is it exploding?
It's within the last 1,000, and last time I refreshed on YouTube about 3 minutes ago, it was 2,900. Wait, 298,000 something. Now it's in the very low 299. So I gained like in the past minute a good 300 people.
That's great, guys. According to the live count, it is
at least the one that I have.
It's about 800. It's about 800 something away.
Just, God, that's ridiculous. I need to 2 seconds. I need to post this to Twitter. And huge thank you.
No, yeah, just you tweet it, I'll retweet it. This is cool, man. I didn't realize you were so close.
Dude, it's crazy. I think everything is already falling into place. I may need to make a video about how we got to fucking 300k right after we finished this fucking stream, which would be so fucking cool. Man, that would be
great.
Cool
I mean,
shit.
I love this is what the Destiny community is all about.
This is insane.
You know,
dude.
and I'm always glad to help, and I want, you know, when I do things like this, I don't want it to just benefit me. I want it to benefit everybody. So, yeah, guys, if you haven't subbed, go ahead and do it. Go ahead. And do it.
If it's okay, I'm gonna pull up an iPad or something so I can just leave my screen on the live sub count.
No,
that is legit.
fine.
I'm recording this right now in OBS because now that this is actually happening,
Okay.
I don't want to miss that moment. But
No,
yeah,
that's perfectly fine. If you want to take a break, I can read the next few verses. It won't be.
Yeah, dude, absolutely, go for it.
You've been crushing it. So.
What are the next few? Just so I vaguely know where we
Shapes
are.
Points, the partition of death, and open your eye, go into it, and Emperor for all outcomes, and then Dreadnought.
Oh,
yeah.
So these are the real. These ones get very exciting. I know exactly
hefty.
where to go. They're very hefty cards, but we can. Yeah, let's.
There's a lot to unpack. It'll be fun.
Oh yes.
All right.
And I'll let you go for it, dude. I'm gonna go grab some tea then.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Get some tea there. All right, guys. So this is we're starting back at verse 7 or verse 4:7. So Jovo, if you're watching this, there you go. Says, "Look at you. You've already grown up, my daughter. You are already a wizard. Have I been away so long? Now you are Iranuk, and Savathun cackles and rages at your brilliance. You have written 11 axioms describing the Ascendant Planes, our throne world. You have announced that you will kill one of these axioms, as Akka would kill the truth. And in mantling Akka, you become a god, as I am. If you try it, I may kill you, or I may applaud you. Well done. I brought you this bitter acid for your celebrations. And for you, Irhalak, you are a wizard too. This is the way of twins. I have been with Zivurath, who complains that you have made a song and sung it in her throne world and killed everyone who listened, quite irrevocably. Will we have songs instead of swords and boomers? What have you made for me? It's a tooth shaped like death. I will keep it in my mouth. What have you written for me? It is a course of the Nikta thought ship. I will track it down. I made you by cutting one larva in half. It would not die. Each half grew into one of you. My sword is named Willbreaker, but it never broke you. So this is the introduction. These few pages are going to be the introduction to entities that we see directly in the raid. The first being Iranuk and Ir-Halak, who are twins spawned from the same larva that sing songs that kill people. And their songs, which, you know, as twins do, cancel each other out, are what we had to overcome to kill them. So you see Oryx starting to swell with pride now that he has overcome everything. He is now, you know, producing spawn that he is proud of. The first was Oryx. These two daughters are his second. Verse 4:8, the partition of death. One day, Oryx decided to grow new wings. While he wrestled with his worm, he came upon the twin daughters dying between places. What are you doing, my daughters? He asked. He was afraid that Ir-Halak and Iranuk were trying to go into the deep, where only the Travelets of Ruin allowed Oryx to go. We are dying, father, they said, as many times as we can manage. That is adorably precocious, Oryx said, shaking out his new wings. But why? We propose a method by which ascendant souls can be detached and integrated into a tautological and autonomous thetanosphere, Thornworld, which we tentatively term as an oversoul. Oversouls can be stored in a throne world as a mechanism of enhanced death resilience, and as a side effect, new refinements of our death song may be achieved, moving us closer to a generally effective pre-causal death impulse. Oversoul killing you. Oryx brandished a sword. Speak the royal tongue, or I'll pin you up for ear to eat. If we separate our deaths from ourselves, we can hide them, and we will be hard to kill. Oryx went to his son Crota, and he said, "Go keep an eye on your sisters. You can learn cunning from them." But while Oryx traveled to observe the deep, destroy an ancient fortress world, Crota conspired with his sisters to learn their secrets. I too will experiment with a wound, he said, and with his sword Crota cut open a new wound into a new space. In here he thought he might obtain a secret power. Out of this wound came machines, called Vex. They invaded Oryx's throne world. So here there is a whole bunch of stuff to unpack, but primarily, and I hope Bife gets back in time for this discussion because I want his input. You see the introduction of the Oversoul, which is a technique that is used by Crota in combat, as well as the War Priest. The Oculus is a modified version of an Oversoul. And you see Crota trying to experiment with the sword logic to open up wounds to new areas to increase his knowledge, and he accidentally allows Vex directly into the throne world of Oryx, which is not something Oryx genuinely likes. Generally, it's not a good thing. The throne world is special, and Oryx just seriously fucked up, or Crota just seriously fucked up. What a fuck up Crota is. But we can get into like the details of that once Five gets back. We got plenty more Vex stuff to go around. Open your eye, go into it. The Vex clattered around, constructing large problems. Their first constructions were deranged because they couldn't understand sword logic, which defined all the rules of Oryx's throne world. The geometry perplexed them. I'll cut them apart, Crota said. But just then, the Vex Ritual of Better Thoughts manifested a mind called Cura Blade Transform. Cura deduced the sword logic. I have to kill everything, Cura resolved. Then I will be powerful. So this is the introduction of the Vex to the sword logic of the Hive, kind of creating the Vex as they are currently. Crota's gate began to emit warrior Vex, huge and brassy. He leapt forward to fight them, but they blinked away. After they fled from Crota, they killed 2,000 of Oryx's acolytes and 10,000 of his thrall. Soon they had established themselves as powers in this world, but by right of slaughter. Come forth, sister wizards, called Ir-Halak. We need you. Iranuk pulled a sword star out of the sky. Together the wizards charged with killing power and made an annihilator totem, which they used to smash the Vex. Close the wound, Brother Crota, Anuk ordered. We will find a cunning way to destroy them, but only after they stopped constructing problems on us. But Kira had instanced herself to the other side of the gate, built a holdfast to keep the way open. Kira's objective was to exploit the paracausal physics of Oryx's throne to become divine. It organized a series of test invasions. For hundreds of years, the local time, the siblings fought the Vex. When the Vex came into the sword world, they would inevitably be annihilated. But when the Hive went into the Vex world, there was so much loss of their power to win. Father is going to eat our souls, Halak sighed. Kira captured some worm larvae and began experimenting on them. Soon, Kira Blade Transform manifested religious tactics. By directing worship at the worms, Kira learned it could alter reality with mild autopathogenic oh my god, I can't read this word. Autopathogenic effects. Being an effective machine, Kira manufactured a priesthood and ordered all subminds to believe in worship. And then it set about abducting and killing dangerous organisms, so it could bootstrap itself into the Hive godhood. For some Vex reason, Kira never attempted to introduce worm larvae into its mind fluid. Savathun was laughing because she had tricked Crota into cutting that place. This drew the attention of the worm our god. Oryx called Ear, set your house in order. So this is, again, a huge fuck-up by Crota, introducing the Vex into a extremely long war inside of Oryx's own throne world, where the Vex now learn and understand the power of the worms. Do you have anything to add, Bife? I believe I heard you return. He might be recording a video right now. 300k hype. Oh, congratulations to Bife hitting 300,000 subs on YouTube. That is amazing.
Ooh, I'm back.
Hey, what's up, man? Apparently you hit 300,000.
What? My life count is saying 299. What? Where is this? What? Hang on a second. I'm gonna refresh this. Maybe it's not telling them the truth. No, according to this live counter, it is, but they're all different. Maybe, I don't know.
You're very close. I mean, people in chat are excited for you. It's gonna happen no matter what.
Oh, this is so fucking cool.
It's really close. He needs 700 is what people are saying.
Yeah, this is
700 away, guys. You can make it happen.
That's literally what I'm seeing right now. It's 299,301.
299,301. 700. Okay, people got pretty-excited. Keep following, guys. Share with your friends. So I want, I guess we should finish the, well, no. So what do you think about, because this was sort of, first time I read this on stream, this was a point of contention. Some people read the interaction of Crota and the Vex as Crota allowing the Vex to exist at all. Like, he pulled them in from another universe, and that's why they currently exist. What's your take on that?
So, I'm definitely a person who doesn't believe that the reason that... Sorry, Crota is not the reason that the Vex exist.
Okay.
The Vex have definitely existed for far, far longer, as far as we know. But the intriguing thing about the Vex in this instance is it goes back to what I was saying earlier about the Netherverse, right? So, the interrelationship between the Hive worlds and the Netherverse... I can actually pull up a Grimoire card about this. Yeah, I have my thing in front of me.
All right.
If you go ahead and take a look at the Exalted Hive segment of your enemy's Grimoire, and then go all the way down to Crota, son of Oryx. In his Grimoire card, you have a line in Crota saying, "The nature and possible interrelationship of the Vex gate system and the Hive Netherworlds remains unexplored." Ikora. Now here's the thing. Why the hell would they say that if they didn't want to hint at it actually being interrelated?
Interconnected. Very strong point.
Not to mention that, more often than not, Osiris and Toland are seen to be, well, Toland is seen to be calling to Osiris through just the nether space generally. And you see, in order to try and create an oversoul and to sort of make himself stronger, Crota cuts a wound in reality. And keep in mind, he's within Oryx's throne world at this point. So he's not in the material world, he is within the throne world. By cutting a portal within it, he's essentially cutting across space and time as they know it in that reality. So, effectively, what I think's happened is he cuts through, and it just so happens that as he cuts, he sort of interjects with part of the Vex network, and thus the Vex spill forth. It's a little bit like you're doing plumbing, you know? You're trying to get from one wall to the other, but you accidentally hit a mains pipe in the middle, and all of a sudden, water spilling out everywhere, and you can't control it, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. So, yeah, that's kind of what I believe it to be.
So what? So this is the other thing that I think is available for debate, is that do you think that at this point, the introduction of the sword logic to the Vex is what turned them kind of into a force that seeks to destroy and dominate the entire universe? Like, was it this encounter with Oryx and Korra Blade Transform, deducing and understanding the way that sword logic worked, distributing that among the other Vex, what drove them to become such an evil, malevolent force?
Well, you see, yes, I don't think that's necessarily the case, because by that point, they're already worshipping an aspect of darkness within the Black Garden. Now, the timing of this one is very weird, just because of, I mean,
the way
the
Vex work with time.
Literally, their entire race is like, hey, fucking time travel, right? But the whole thing about the Vex going ahead and spilling forth from the gate, and Quoria Blade Transform trying to understand, the fact that they are attempting to dominate, it shows that they are from a certain period in their existence where the entire point of what they're trying to do is to rule the universe and to be in that final state.
So they're already in a state where they want to conquer.
Yes. In other words, they've already had, in one part of their timeline, a moment where they've encountered the darkness in a pure form, which is what we face in the Black Garden. They've already worshipped it. It's kind of enthralled them, and they are not exactly slave to its will, but they've made it their god, so to speak. Because the Vex are a series of, well, it's a creature of pure logic, right?
Yeah.
You literally can't go ahead and have a Vex on its own looking at something, but at the same time, if a Vex can't understand something, it has to treat it as a god. And it's so inquantifiable, the darkness itself, that the Vex can't actually understand it. So the most logical reaction for the Vex is to make it a god. And therefore, by binding themselves to it, they are more powerful because they have weaponized its power. So they're therefore more likely to achieve their final victory state. It's kind of a weird way of putting it, but long story short,
I love that everything that the Vex does can be defined like by using computer language, because that is ultimately, you know, they're looking to achieve a state where they win. You know?
Yeah, precisely.
And as ridiculous as it doesn't have to be bound by more complex logic just because they're machines.
Exactly.
Well, mostly machines. Which I also thought was a really interesting point. And the last one is that, for some unexplainable reason, the Vex never introduced the worms into the only organic part of themselves, which is
into the Radioloria.
Yeah.
Yes, I think maybe that's a practicality thing, but also it's just it's odd, right? Like, maybe. Yeah, again, that is a bit odd, but at the same time, I'm not sure if they completely understood how the Hive functioned at that point.
Yeah, they might have been seeking to more understand the Hive, and they could have been afraid that introducing something like that into themselves would change what they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you finish?
We're on Dreadnought. Yeah, we're on Dreadnought right now.
Dreadnought.
So. Yeah. Oh no, sorry, we're on an Emperor for all outcomes. My bad.
Nope. Okay. Oryx rushed home and read from the tablets of ruin. He put some Vex into wounds to be taken by the power of the deep. Thus he turned the Vex against each other. Quoria manifested a range of tactics, but none of them were adaptive. Oryx crushed all the Vex in his throne. Oryx thought that he should study geometry like the Vex. It was the map of perfect shapes. But first he had to punish imperfection. "My son," he said, "this is your punishment. Come home glorious or die forgotten." He picked up Crota by the legs and threw him into the Vexgate network. Crota battled through history, becoming a legendary demon. In his early centuries, he often spared a few victims to hear oaths and protests against his father. Later, he came to understand Oryx, and maybe he made temples and monuments wherever he went. Meanwhile, Oryx brooded on the Vex. "I have met a worthy rival," he said. "They want to exist forever just as I do, but I don't understand them." At this his worm began to chew, for he was bound to understand. He called Savathun to meet in the material world. She told him that the Vex worked tirelessly to understand everything, so that they could build a victory condition for every possible end state of the universe. "Then I must be a better king," Oryx said. "If they want to build an emperor for all outcomes, then I will be the king of only one. I will follow the deep wherever it goes and document its power. Let us create a catalogue of the Grave of Worlds, which will be our map to victory." Oryx knew that all life could be described as cellular automata, except for that life which understood the deep or the sky and thus escaped causality. Out of love for her brother, which was the same as the desire to kill him, Savathun leaked a secret to Shivu Arath. "Listen, Shivu, Oryx's throne world has been compromised. You can cut your way in from here." Shivu Arath used this to plan an ambush. But Oryx was too canny. The Taken King set his court to the high wall. "My throne world is vulnerable. I'm going to move it." "Where?" said Kargor, world render. "Into a mighty dreadnought," said Oryx. "I shall keep my glorious mind cosmos inside a titanic warship." So, few things of very important note here.
Yeah.
For starters, this is where the initial idea of the dreadnought comes. That little cyst in reality that we see right back when Savathun first betrays Oryx, that's about to become the dreadnought that we see in The Taken King. That is Oryx's throne world. And all of a sudden people are going to ask the main question of, but that's in the material world. How the frick does that work? What the butts? So big important point to make about that is what's going to happen in the next few cards after the Vex have been truly defeated. And there's a very interesting process to all of this that occurs. So we'll go ahead and go into that. But the other cool thing about this is the point at which they mention, the world's grave, basically. Where they,
which is one of the missions. We blow that thing up.
Oh.
The big black ball.
No,
is that not it?
Nope. The world's grave is the one where literally it's just, what's it? They've broken the Bekenstein limit.
Oh, yeah.
It's literally just a library of all the Hive's knowledge. It's referred to constantly, as well as Toland's journals as one of kind of the key pieces of information that Guardians can sort in order to get knowledge about the Hive.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we basically just raid that so we can go ahead and find more stuff out about the Hive and see what their plans eventually are. It's where we initially discover their plan to invade Earth. But it's kind of the interesting thing. Let's see.
Awesome.
Next card is
Dreadnought.
Dreadnought, indeed.
Yeah.
To make his
now
ship...
we get to find out what the Dreadnought's made of, guys. For you guys that have been asking for since the beginning, since 3 hours ago. Here you go.
Pretty much. To make his ship, Oryx scrimshawed one piece of Akka, who was dead but far from gone. He stole the hammer of Shivu Arath and the scalpel of Savathun, and he armored his ship in baneful armor. When Oryx had built his dreadnought, he pushed his throne world inside out, so that it bled into the material space of the dreadnought. They were countermonious and allied, his ship and his sin. The dreadnought was within the throne world, but the throne world of Oryx was the dreadnought. Ayat. This required a verse from the Tablet of Ruins. The whole court worked together to push Oryx's throne inside out. This was a day of joyous violence, and all of Oryx's broods marked this holiday as Eversion Day. which is celebrated by turning things inside out. Saith Oryx, go out into the universe, my court, gather tribute for me, send it home to my ship. When I call you, walk up that tribute to my court. I will prepare for long voyages. I am Savathun Insidious. Into the war, I graffiti this. And by the way, this is actually the most interesting point. These verses that I'm reading, you guys should see if you can pull that grimoire up.
Yeah.
Because this is written down as though it's actually on the tablet, and as though Savathun has scribbled over it. So it reads, I will prepare for long voyages, and then it cuts to, I am Savathun Insidious. Into the war cuts to, I graffiti this notice for you. Into the deep, these books are full of lies. Which is just a really interesting
That
cut
is
off
really
the middle of this card.
interesting. Yeah.
Now Oryx's throne was safe from incursion because it moved so nimbly. Oryx attacked the harmonious flotilla Invincible, which guarded the Nietzsche thought ship. Ugh. When the flotilla surrounded his dreadnought, Oryx put his sword into the hull and used the power of the deep and a clever system his daughters built to push his throne world out into mere reality. By wrath and confidence, he filled space with an egg of his throne. It swelled up like a ghost star to smash the harmonious flotilla Invincible. Oryx broke the last word of their name. The Nietzsche thought ship, Oryx hoped to find... Sorry, God, I keep on missing words, sorry. In the Nietzsche thought ship, Oryx hoped to find the location of the gift mast, which had been left behind by the Traveller. Oryx wanted to eat it, but the thought ship was a trap. Upon it was Quaria, blade transform. So, for those of you who are wondering, that's kind of vaguely how stuff is made. The Dreadnought is literally made out of the armor of Akka, who Oryx killed in order to become the Taken King. And he stole both the weapons of Shiva-Arath and Savathun in order to make it. So again, it's kind of a demonstration of his cunning and his power over those two as well. And then the craziest thing of all, his throne world was literally turned inside out and pushed into a material space. So the Dreadnought, there's a very good reason why its core can't be detonated, not just because it powers a big fuck-off ship. If you detonate and destroy the Dreadnought, you've created a paradox. Because the Dreadnought is already a paradox. You've destroyed a paradox without allowing the universe to properly heal itself, and there's a reason why Cade says it would probably take half a system with it. Essentially, imagine just a big fragment in space and time, and that's what you'd get if you destroy the Dreadnought, because it physically doesn't make sense. You need to kill... Well, Oryx needs to take himself in order to force his netherverse, his throne world, back into the actual nether world. And instead of it being the Dreadnought. So, it's kind of this very weird distinction, I guess.
Everything about the Dreadnought is like mind-rending, because everything is like... It's all a paradox. Like everything about its existence is a paradox, because the throne world is by definition not supposed to be able to exist anywhere but where it is. So it's like turning a pocket universe into physical form inside of a main universe. It's really fucking crazy.
Exactly. And it's it both is and isn't at the same time, and it's the weirdest freaking thing in the world, I'll tell that much. But yeah, later down in the line, we also see, the attack at the very beginning of the Taken King, where the fleet of the Reef just gets totally wiped out. We actually see him using that attack versus the Nietzsche thought ship when the flotilla surrounded the Dreadnought. And, he literally, that is pure darkness that he uses to attack, as well as a clever system from his daughters. He uses it to push his throne world out into mere reality. By wrath and confidence, shape-filled with an egg of his throne world, swelled up like a ghost star and smashed the fleet. So basically, it's a way of saying he's taken the power of the darkness and he's used it again to sort of push part of the reality of his throne world outwards. It's this expulsion of force that is pretty much powered by everything that he does. Just weird to think about. I don't know. Like, again, we're getting into stuff that if it was in physics, you'd be throwing this up there with rocket science, but thank God this isn't real.
Yeah.
So yeah, that'd be bad.